Dirtle Magic. Thank you for tuning in to Dirtle Magic. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell if you like the content you see here today, and leave a like and share the video with someone you might think is interested. Leaving those likes really helps us out, but another way to help us out is by using our TCG Player affiliate link below. If you're looking for singles, sealed product, or gaming accessories, please consider using our link to support the channel. We also have some playmats at inkgaming.com. Go ahead and hit the link in the description to check those out. Alright, let's grab some spells and dirtle with some magic. Hello and welcome back to Dirtle Magic. Today we're playing Kardur, Doomscourge. Looking at our opening hand, we do have 4 mana. Okay. We do have Shiny Impetus, which could be good. We can get down our Commander, Massacre Girl if anything goes wrong. Blasphemous Act. I think we can keep this. Alright, looks like we're going second. Playing to the play for our first punt, who is Kwain, Itinerant Meddler. Wayfarer's Bauble coming down for them. White-blue for a 1/3. Tap, each player may draw a card, then each player who drew a card this way gains 1 life. Now you don't have to draw a card, and actually I've been looking at this commander, wanting to see how people would build it. Luckily for me, here it is. Very interested in seeing how things go down with that. Mana Crypt coming down for them. Oh, that's a lot of mana already. They tap it down to sacrifice the Wayfarer's Bauble. That's going to be a quick... Well, I mean, it'd be turn 2 commander anyway, but it's going to be quick regardless. Our commander, 2 black-red for a legendary 4/3 Demon Berserker. When enters the battlefield, until your next turn, creatures your opponent's control attack each combat if able, and attack a player other than us if able. And whenever an attacking creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life and we gain 1 life. Disrupt the Corm is the card for our turn. Let's go ahead and get Spine Rock Null out of the way. Okay, here's what we get. Conjurer's Closet could be very good for our commander and some other things. Harvester of Souls could also draw us cards later on, especially if things die. I think I'm going to go with the Harvester of Souls here. That way we get some card draw later. And we'll pass it off to our opponents. Our next opponent, speaking of, is Szadek, Lord of Secrets. 3 blue, black for a legendary 5/5 Vampire. Flying. If you deal combat damage to a player, instead put that many 1/1 counters on Szadek, and that player mills that many cards. I haven't seen this card in a very long time. Also, 2 interesting facts. Szadek basically means arse. I don't remember in what language. And in the book, he was the Lord of Whispers. Mystic Sanctuary coming into play for that player, though. Over to our last opponent, who is Nicol the Ravager, or Nicol the Arisen. 1 blue, black, red for a legendary 4/4 Elder Dragon. Flying, when there's the battlefield, each opponent discards a card, and 4 blue, black, red, exile this card, then return him to the battlefield transformed under its owner's control. Activate this ability only time you can cast a sorcery. It transforms into Nicol the Arisen. +2, draw 2 cards. -3, deals 10 damage to target creature or player. -4, put target creature or planeswalker card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. And -12, exile all but the bottom of target player's library. It starts with 7 loyalty. They had a Temple of Deceit come into play. They got to scry 1. Over to Kwain's turn. Mana Crypt will trigger for the bonk. Let's see if they get the whack. They win the flip. Kirapor? Orrery? I can't ever pronounce that word. So if we empty our hand, essentially we get to draw extra cards, and we only play an additional land at each of our turns. Luckily, we go right after this player, so we get first dibs on that. Don't know that we're going to empty our hand all that fast, though. That's it for Kwain. Over to our turn, let's see what we draw. It's a Luxury Suite. Let's go ahead and play it. We'll also play the Command Tower, sure. Nothing really to cast right now, so we'll pass it off to our opponents. Over to Szadek's turn. I'm interested in seeing this deck as well, just because, one, I haven't seen this commander in a very long time. But also, it looks like it's going to be focusing on mill a lot. Midnight Clock coming down for them after an island and a swamp. So it's essentially Mana Rock, tapping it down for some mana. 2 blue, put an hour counter on it. At the beginning of each upkeep, put an hour counter on it. When the 12th counter is on it, shuffle your hand and graveyard into your library, then draw 7 cards, exile Midnight Clock. Midnight Clock will trigger for the first time, and I'll stop saying that until it's destroyed, removed, or removes itself. Nicol Bolas' turn. Just the Temple of Deceit into play so far. Maybe they'll catch up on the land in the second main. Alright, they play nothing else this turn. No rocks, no other lands. Over to Kwain. Bonk Crypt. Will they win the flip? They win the flip again, still at 40 life. 5 cards in hand after the draw. Potential 2 land drops this turn. That'll bring him up to 7 mana. That's pretty good. Kwain, Irritant, Metal are coming down. Itinerant, sorry. No haste, that's nice. Could do Swiftfoot Boots or something, though. Comes our turn, we get a Blood Crypt. Unfortunately, we're not drawing anything we can really play. Let's go ahead and get the Blood Crypt into play. And a Swamp. And I think we just pass it there. There's no real reason to have our commander go anywhere and do anything at the moment. Massacre Girl doesn't come down to do anything just yet. So, yeah, let's just pass it off. Over to Szadek's turn. Midnight Clock is at 4 counters. We have a Sword of the Animus coming down for Szadek. So I also want to point out that Szadek is a vampire. So I don't know if that's going to have any synergy in the deck. Possibly could. Lightning Greaves also coming down for that player. 2 Nicol Bolas' turn. Dragon Skull Summit into play. Maybe a Mana Rock. It is Obelisk of Grixis. Over to Kwain's turn. Mana Crypt. It does the thing. They lose the flip this time, down to 37. Everybody may draw a card. Sure, we'll go ahead and do that. I don't see any reason not to. We get a mountain. Alhammeret's Archive. Okay. Yeah, that's going to have some good synergy with them, especially if they can dump their hand. Nothing else out of Kwain this turn. Going to roll over to us. I don't think they dropped a land, so that's interesting. We get a land, Temple of Malice. Sure, we'll play that in the mountain. Get a scry out of the way. Blood Artist. Doesn't seem like something we need at the moment, though. And I think we'll just keep passing it off. We could get down our commander and start wailing on people. I think that's what we're going to do with all the mana we're getting. We might as well play it. See what happens here. Everything gets mega goated. And we'll pass it off to our opponents. Over to Szadek's turn. Midnight Clock will be at 8 counters. One more time around the table, and they have to get a whole new hand. Wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Who do we want to attack first, though? Our demon does not fly. It is a wingless demon. So probably off into Nicol Bolas, depending. Perhaps into Kwain. We have Watery Grave and Sunken Hollow come into play. Watery Grave will enter tapped. We have a Whisper Silk Cloak. That's going to get dangerous pretty quick. We do have Blasphemous Act for that. Szadek does cost 7 mana, so there's that. Perhaps we can get an enchantment on it before they equip, but between that and the Greaves, I don't think they'll forget. Over to Nicol Bolas' turn. They have 8 cards in hand after the draw. Enough mana for their commander as well. I don't know, at this point, I'd probably discard the mountain, just so we don't lose any of the other stuff. A lot of the other stuff has that potential for us. Nightscape Familiar coming down. Oh, okay. Rakdos Canarium, they'll have to bounce a land to their hand. Mountain back to hand. Over to Kwain, they win the flip on the Mana Crypt again. Still at 38. Kwain is being activated. I mean, sure, we'll draw a card. We get War Cadence. Well, with all the mana we have, that should be an excellent card. Thought Vessel coming down for Kwain. That should be good with the artifacts they have in play. Alhammeret's Archive specifically could be good if they somehow unload their hand and get the Garapor artifact over here to trigger. That means they could draw potentially 8 cards that turn alone. We have Fate Stitcher coming down. You may tap or untap another target permanent you control, unearth for blue. We get Disciple of Bolas. That could be pretty good. We could sacrifice our commander to it, which is one of the things we can do if we have some recursion going on. Let's play Mountain and get down the War Cadence. And then let's go ahead, go to attacks. I think we'll attack into the Nicol Bolas player, because it looks like with the extra card draw Kwain for now, we won't really need to have to worry about discarding so much. I do want to get some damage going here. We do have a block out of the Nightscape Familiar. It will probably regenerate. They do not regenerate the Nightscape Familiar. Okay. Over to Szadek's turn. Midnight Clock will get 12 counters on it. It goes bye-bye. They get a whole new hand of stuff. The rest gets shuffled back into their library. Wonder what they got. They are down to 5 mana now, though. They could still play 2 lands, thanks to the Garapor artifact. So it could be Szadek this turn, followed by Lightning Greaves. Alright, never mind. Dismal Backwater, they'll gain 1 life. We have Mind Grind. Each opponent reveals cards from the top of the library until they hit X lane cards, which is 4. All those cards go to the graveyard. Alright, well, let's see what we get. Okay, just Mogus, God of Slaughter, into the graveyard. Nicol Bolas gets the Scorpion God, Ragnar Signet, Blasphemous Act, Baleful Strix, Charm, all the things. Kwain, not as bad. Do have a Mind Maze Tome, Michiko Kunda, so it is a little bit pill fort. We also have Shabraz the Sky Shark, all that life gain. Nicol Bolas' turn, Mountain back from the hand onto the battlefield. Painful Quandary. That should make things a little bit interesting. So whenever an opponent casts a spell, they pay 5 life or discard a card. Well, at least we might have an enemy out of it, eh? Preordain. They'll scry 2, then draw a card. Over to Kwain's turn. They win the flip again. They are 3-1. We have a Ristic Study coming down for Kwain. Okay, that should be pretty good for him. On the bright side, we can usually pay for that. Painful Quandary will trigger, however. Let's see how they do things. I imagine they'll just discard. They do. I mean, they're going to draw so many cards. Guafa. I haven't seen that in a while. Kwain is happening. Let's go ahead and draw a card. We get Phyrexian Tower. Could be good. We need some recursion to put that mana in to get our commander back to our hand so we can recast it for the 4. That's why it's in here. A bit of a synergy. We have Unknown Shores into play. Hedron Archive. Painful Quandary will trigger again. I imagine another discard. I do like the Mind Stone Hedron Archive and Dreamstone Hedron cards. They discard Charax the Raging Isle. Cool. Fate Stitcher. They're untapping Kwain. Kwain being activated again. Sure, we'll draw another card. Keeping them alive is going to help us deal with the Painful Quandary. I'm just worried about what kind of price that's going to be. We draw Kazul Tyrant of the Cliffs. Doesn't seem to be something very necessary right now. Probably keep it around though. It does have a bit more potential than something like Disrupticorn. Comes to our turn, we get Necromancy. Nice. I can appreciate that. So we have some recursion now. Let's go ahead and play Phyrexian Tower. Let's cast Shiny Impetus on Kardur. We will have to discard a card to do so. We'll also pay 1 for the Ristic Stay. We discard Disrupt a Quorum. Doesn't seem to be really helping us in any regard. And we'll go to attacks and attack Kwain this time. Actually, let's attack the Nicol Bolas player and get some goodwill. We'll attack Kwain next time. We get a treasure token. Damage is good. Down to 38, up to 6 commander for Nicol Bolas. Let's pass it off. Fluid Delta into play and cracked for the Szadek player. Szadek, Lord of Secrets coming down. Ristic Study and Painful Quandary do the thing. Let's see if they pay for it. They do have 1 mana left over. Sorry, 2 mana left over. They pay for the study. Nice. They discard a card. Is Startled Awake. Persistent Nightmare on the other side. Lightning Greaves to Szadek. Makes sense to me. Szadek on the attack, off into the Kwain player. It makes a bit of sense. Limit their ability to draw anything nice. Plus, we do have Necromancy, which can recur anything out of a graveyard. So I'm very interested in seeing what they have over there. Damage is good. Replacement effect happens. They take no commander damage. Szadek is a 10-10. They mail Daxus, Meledes, Mind's Eye, Manifold Key, and a couple of lands. Okay. Homeward Path is pretty good. Need to pick one of those up myself. Over to Nicol Bolas. I imagine probably their commander. Reliquary Tower into play for them. Nicol Bolas, Dragon God. Ristic Study does the thing. They'll probably pay for it, I'll wager. So let's see. As the loyalty abilities of all other planeswalkers on the battlefield. For loyalty, +1 draw a card. Each opponent exiles a card from their hand or a permanent they control. -3, destroy target creature or planeswalker. -8, each opponent who doesn't control a legendary creature or planeswalker loses the game. Yep, they're just drawing our commander. Sad face. Let's see. Do we want to put back in the command zone? Yeah, we will this time. Kwain's turn. Kwain is being activated. They also won the flip on the Mana Crypt trigger. Let's go ahead and draw a card. We get Marchesa's Decree. That could be pretty good. Fate Stitcher targeting Kwain. Kwain activation. We will draw yet another card. Shadow Spear is the card. Aetherflux Reservoir. Uh-oh. Kwain discards a card for the Painful Quandary. It's Pull from Tomorrow. Sphinx's Revelation for 5 out of Kwain. So they will be able to blast somebody. That's unfortunate. Kwain up to 62. 15 cards in hand. Comes our turn. We get Bajuka Bog. So sitting on the trigger is Kwain. If any of us do anything to them, they just boop and we're gone. Okay, let's do some things anyway. Might as well sacrifice the treasure. What do I want to add? Let's add some white. Marchesa's Decree. We have a bunch of triggers. We'll pay for the Ristic Study trigger. We'll discard the Bajuka Bog. Marchesa's Decree comes into play. We become the Monarch. And then let's go ahead and summon Kazal. We have more triggers. We cannot pay for the Ristic Study this time, unfortunately. Let's see. We will discard probably Massacre Girl. It won't help us against Szadek. And we pass it off there and hope we don't get sniped. End of the turn, we get to draw a card. We get High Market. Not terribly helpful at the moment, but at least it's discard fodder. Szadek's turn. Let's see where they send Szadek, if anywhere. Szadek on the attack, off into the Kwain player. Will Kwain pull the trigger and get rid of the player? I imagine they want to gain plus 100 life so they can just take care of one player, 1v1, and then nuke 2 other players. Damage is good. The replacement effect instead happens. Szadek is a 20/20, and Kwain mills a lot of other cards. Mangara the Diplomat, bunches of lands, couple of mana rocks. Path to Exile, that's good. Don't have to worry about that removal. Second main phase, tapping down some mana. Let's see what it is. Leyline of the Void. Aw, sad face. They discard Demir's Signet to pay for the Quandary trigger. Over to Nicol Bolas. Still want to take out their Planeswalker. Not going to be able to do much at the moment. They draw a card. Each opponent exiles a card from their hand or a permanent they control. Yep. High Market goes bye-bye. Alright, we exile High Market. Plains is exiled by Kwain. And it looks like Sword of the Amist is exiled by Szadek. Evolving Wilds into play and cracked for the Nicol Bolas player. Island into play tapped. We have a Bog into play off of Nicol Bolas. Okay, well, let's see where they're sending it. Maybe Kwain, just because they don't want them to recur anything. Yep, it's Kwain. Everything goes bye-bye. Empty graveyard. Wasn't much to recur anyway. We have Vandal Blast. It's overloaded. Okay. We don't have any artifacts, so that's nice. Although, now we could potentially do something to Szadek as far as goading goes. Unfortunately, we don't have any of those things in our deck, or in our hand at the moment, rather. Nicol Bolas does not pay for the study trigger. Vandal Blast will get rid of all the shiny artifacts, including Aether Flux. Let's see if they shoot anybody with it. Nope. Totally goes away. They'll get exiled, by the way, because of the Leyline of the Void. At the end of Nicol Bolas' turn, we have a response out of Szadek. Memory Plunder. You may cast an instant card and target opponent's graveyard without paying the mana cost. And it looks like we have a Blasphemous Act. That's too bad. They do pay for the Ristic Study trigger, though, so that's nice. Blasphemous Act to the stack. Alright, so we lose Kazal. We do have a few more draws, a little bit more draw maybe coming out of Kwain, but we just aren't getting, like, the meat and potatoes of the deck. The goad stuff isn't going to work too much. It might protect us against Szadek, though, but we'll have to see how things go. Kazal gets exiled. Kwain back to the command zone. Soul's Attendant for Kwain. They discard, and then because of Leyline, exile an island. We have Swords to Plowshares. It's targeting Szadek. Yeah, they lost all of their Shroud protection. The Szadek player will gain 20 life, though, so that might be a decent trade. Szadek player up to 61. Smothering Tithe coming down for Kwain. They still have 16 cards in hand. They discard / exile another island. We have Counterspell out of Nicol Bolas. Nice. To the cleanup step of Kwain's turn. Let's see what they exile, basically, from their hand. They will have to exile up to 9 cards. Comes our turn, we get a Swamp. And they exile a bunch of lands. Ooh, a Temis All-Seeing. That could have been bad. Maze of Ith, Approach of the Second Sun. Yeah, so all the kind of, like, alternate win cons. It makes me wonder what they kept. So I think at this point, I want to reanimate the Massacre Girl. And at least get rid of the Soul's Attendant, threaten the Nicol Bolas, and then maybe next turn attack, sacrifice it to Disciple of Bolas to draw some cards. Seems like an okay plan to me. We have some discard fire and Blasphemous Act. I don't think it's going to be too useful right now. Cast Necromancy. We will pay for the Ristic Study trigger, and we will discard a card. Exile a Swamp from our hand. And let's get back to Massacre Girl. Unfortunately, Mogus will not be able to come back. It will immediately die, thanks to the clause on Necromancy, Dance of the Dead, or Animate Dead. we have a couple of triggers. Kwain will gain 1 life, but then we'll kill the Soul's Attendant. And let's pass it off right there. Nothing else to do. Let's go to the end step, draw a card. We are still the Monarch. We still wear the hat. We get Chaos Warp. That could be very good. Could potentially be very bad. But it's Chaos Warp. That's what it does. Over to Szadek's turn. 4 cards in hand after the draw. The 2 players with a lot of cards in hand right now are Nicol and Kwain. Nicol has 8, Kwain has 7. We're down to 4, not getting too many options either. We did get through a land block thanks to some milling from Mind Grind, which is nice. But our deck really likes to have creatures on the battlefield to start causing some chaos. I'm hoping we get a few free attacks in, but where everybody's so healthy on life, I just don't know if things are going to get moving here anytime soon. We have a Dimir Doppelganger. Dimir Doppelganger for the Szadek player. To summon it, they discarded a Raven Guildmaster. Okay. Nemesis of Reason. Yeah, that's pretty good. They do pay for the Ristic Study trigger. That's nice. For the Nemesis, they discard Rexiel the Risen Deep. That's a good card too. It has like 40% evasion. Over to Nicol Bolas' turn. They have yet to play the commander, so that does have me a little concerned. Is that Signet coming down for the Nicol Bolas player? Ristic Study does the triggering. Nicol Bolas pays for the Ristic Study. Nicol Bolas Dragon God being activated. They draw a card. We have to exile something from our hand. Thinking at this point probably Shadow Spear or Blasphemous Act. Could also exile a permanent we control. Could be good, but I think we're at a... I mean, everyone's at healthy enough life right now. Let's just exile the Shadow Sphere. Alright, let's see. Mystic Sanctuary, exiled as a permanent from the Szadek player. Kwain exiles a Ebony Owl Netsuke. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, if that player has 7 more cards in hand, deals 4 damage to that player. Ah. Interesting little tech there. Angrath the Flame Chained. Okay, that's actually one of my more favorite Planeswalkers. Unfortunately, the discard is about to get super real. That also means Nicol Bolas Dragon God has all of Angrath's abilities. So, not the best. We will have to discard again. There goes Blasphemous Act. Let's see what else we had for discards. Nothing out of the Szadek player. We do have Minamo Skull at Water's Edge for the Kwain player. That's it for Nicol Bolas. Over to Kwain. 6 cards in hand after the draw. 31 cards left in their deck. Thought I'd mention that since they've been being milled by the Szadek player. Nemesis of Reason still on the battlefield. I wonder if they're going to launch that towards the Nicol Bolas player at all. We have Soul Warden coming down. Okay, still on the life gain, I suppose. Consecrated Sphinx. So whenever we draw, they get to draw too. Might mill themselves out at that point. Soul Warden will trigger. I do want to clarify, Consecrated Sphinx is a May trigger, so they won't mill themselves if they don't want to. But it could happen, I suppose. Comes to our turn, we get Dance of the Dead. That is pretty useless, unfortunately. Well, actually, I take that back. Rexiel the Risen Deep is an interesting card. Let's go to attacks. Attack Nicol Bolas. Well, the Planeswalker and the player, but specifically the Planeswalker. Nicol Bolas Dragon God is down. That works for me. Second main, let's go ahead and play Dance of the Dead. Get Rexiel back. We have a number of triggers. Paying for the study. We can discard a guard or pay 5 life. I think we'll just pay the 5 life right here. Soul Warden will trigger. Kwain will gain 1 life. And then let's go ahead and play Bolas' Disciple. Disciple of Bolas to the stack. We'll pay for the Ristic Stay. We'll probably take another 5 life for the Painful Quandary just because I want to keep Chaos Warp around for a sec. We are down to 32. 10 life for this turn. We have some triggers. We'll sacrifice Massacre Girl. Unfortunately, she and Necromancy will both be exiled. Consecrated Sphinx will trigger a bunch. We get Clackbridge Troll, Emberwald Captain, Swamp, and Chainer. Oh, Chainer. Just a little bit late there, buddy. Well, it will give our commander haste, though, so that's a nice thing. And with that, we'll pass it to our opponents. We still wear the hat, so we get to draw a card. We get Grave Upheaval. Okay. That could work out. Over to Szadek's turn. Interested in seeing what they do with the Nemesis. 1 card in hand after the draw, hence the trigger for Consecrated Sphinx. Kwain up to 15 cards in hand. Kwain decides to draw 2 more cards. They're up to 17 cards in hand, 17 cards in their deck. Attacks are declared. I don't know where Nemesis is attacking, though. It is triggering, however. I suppose we'll find out. Nemesis is attacking off into the Kwain player. They have to mill 10 cards, which means 10 get exiled, and they're down to 7 cards in the deck. Hey, Psychic Spiral. Another mill card. I've been trying to use this one forever. 5 mana is a lot, though. The Doppelganger is going off into Kwain as well, and they can become anything in a graveyard. Right now, it's just their Raven Guild guide, I think. So it'll get exiled, they become a copy of it. When it deals common damage to a player, exile the top 10 cards of that player's library, so essentially Kwain will die on their draw step. Yep, it was activated after blocks were not assigned. There go the rest of the cards for Kwain. Alright, let's see. Brainstorm, Palladium Mirror, Sad Robot, Inventor's Fair, Well of Knowledge. Yep, looks like they're going to be out pretty quick. Ashiok, Nightmare Weaver. So this Planeswalker here costs 3 loyalty to start with, plus 2, exile top 3 cards of target opponent's library. Kwain quits the game. -X, put a creature card with converted mana cost X exiled with Ashiok Nightmare Weaver onto the battlefield under your control. That creature is a nightmare in addition to its other types. And -10, exile all cards from all opponents' hands and graveyards. So that -10 could be potentially very bad. Ashiok is being activated. They're exiling 3 cards from target opponent's library. So then they also got Nicol, Bolas, the original, although not the original art. Otherwise, let's see, it was Terminate and Temple of Epiphany. Looks like that's it for Szadek. Over to Nicol, Bolas. Still 7 cards in hand. We'll have, 8 after the draw. 59 cards in the deck. There goes Rexiel. Let's see where it's heading. Off into Ashiok. That works for me. We don't lose the Monarchy, and we get Rexiel back without it dying. Potentially. The Planeswalker is down. Nicol, Bolas, the actual card itself, gets exiled. We have Damnation. Being reprinted in Time's Power Remastered. Hope I can get a copy at some point. Oh, we have a response out of Szadek? We're exiling a card. They'll become Mogus. Splat. There goes our Disciple of Bolas. Dance of the Dead will trigger. Unfortunately, the creature's already dead, and it gets exiled. Sad face. Nicol, Bolas, the Ravager coming down. We'll have to discard a card. I guess we'll discard Chainer, since it's not going to be too useful. Grave of Evil with the Nemesis of Reason attack the Nicol, Bolas player. Could also want to save Chaos Warp, so let's get rid of Chainer, unfortunately. Szadek player doesn't have to do anything because they have no cards in hand. Angrath the Flame Chain will trigger to sacrifice a creature. Comes our turn. Mogus, God of Slaughter, the Imposter, will trigger. We take 2, we're down to 34. We get Tectonic Edge for the draw. Let's go ahead and get down the Clackbridge Troll. Could be interesting. Painful Quandary will trigger. Do we want to keep Tech Edge or the Swamp? Let's keep the Tech Edge for now. We'll give the goats to Szadek. Sure, why not? Let's go to combat. I want to see if we can get rid of the Angrath first, and then we'll see what we do in the second main phase. Troll off an Angrath. Killing a bunch of Planeswalkers is a giant pain in the butt, but I also don't want them to keep stealing our stuff and having us discard a bunch of things. If they block with Nicol, Bolas, that's awesome, but it won't save Angrath, so I doubt that they're going to do it. Alright, they choose not to block. Angrath is going to get slammed to the ground. That works out for now, anyway. Nicol, Bolas flipping over and then doing some really bad stuff isn't my favorite. Angrath is down, damage is good. I think we'll leave mana up for now. I was just reading the backside of Nicol, Bolas. Let's just pass it off. We do still wear the hat. Let's draw a card. We get Immersturm Predator. Glen Elendra Liege coming down for the Szadek player. Painful Quandary still does all that triggering. Mogus, God of Slaughter is active. Nice. Hoping they swing into the Nicol, Bolas player. Mogus off into Nicol, Bolas. That works for me. Oh, looks like we have a response out of Nicol, Bolas. Course's Charm. Return target permanent to his owner's hand. Okay, so it'll just be the Doppelganger back to the hand of the opponent there. That's okay. At least we won't be taking the 2 damage. Unfortunately, that also means we can't use Spine Rock Null. I was kind of looking forward to that, just to have a blocker up. Or at least another potential target for Nicol, Bolas when it flips over. We have Startled Awake. Put it from your graveyard to your battlefield. Transformed. So let's go ahead and see what this is all about here. It'll Skulk, it'll be a 1/1 Nightmare. When it deals combat damage to the player, return to its owner's hand, and then target mills 13 cards. Do we want to Chaos Warp the Nicol Bolas right now? Could potentially be good just to keep it off the transformation, but I think we'll wait until it's a Planeswalker. They do have enough mana to just do it. Nicol Bolas' turn, Aether Hub into play. They gain 1 energy. They have 5 cards in hand. We're all fairly healthy still, unfortunately. Still trying to get things rolling here. Lots of removal, lots of denial. The Szadek player seems to be mostly out of the game. They could potentially draw something awesome though, so never count somebody out, as we saw with Arnie Brokenbrow. Patient Rebuilding. At the beginning of your upkeep, target opponent mills 3 cards, then you draw a card for each land card put into the graveyard this way. Alright, more mill. That's unfortunate. Sudden Spoiling. Split second, targeting us until the turn creatures target player controls lose all abilities and have base and power, toughness 2, and power 0. Our troll becomes a 0-2. That's unfortunate. Our troll's a 0-2, hopefully not going to die to a random Pyroclasm. Yeah, okay, well, it's Incendiary Command. We will destroy target non-basic land. It'll be Watery Grave over on Szadek's side. Alright, let's see where Nicol Bolas might be attacking. If it's off into us, we'll Chaos Warp on Nicol Bolas. It is. Nope, I'd rather keep the Monarch. Chaos Warp, go. We will have to discard a card. Let's discard the Tectonic Edge. Looks like they just got a mountain into play. Our turn gives us a swamp. Probably just going to keep it in hand to do some stuff. Oops, I unfortunately accidentally pressed 1 instead of Q. My bad. Alright, well, let's get Rexiel out anyway. Painful Quandary triggers, we'll discard a swamp. We have Rexiel, let's pass it off. Monarch, let's draw a card. We get a mountain off to Szadek's turn. Doppelganger in the hand. We have the Doppelganger coming back down for Szadek. They do have 1 other card in hand at the moment, so maybe they'll discard it or pay the 5 life. They pay the 5 life. They're down to 44. They're going to get back Startled Awake, which will come into play as the creature. Yep, Persistent Nightmare. Szadek attacking with the Leech off into us. Unfortunately, I guess we'll just take the 2. They get the Monarch, which means we're going to have to attack them to get it back. Over to Nicol Bolas' turn, Patient Rebuilding will trigger. If they target us, we will have to exile 3 cards. If they target the Szadek player, they'll just mill 3 cards. It is the Szadek player. Thought so, because otherwise they can't draw any cards if they don't hit any lands, and ours would just go away. Let's see, they mill all lands. Okay, so 5 cards in hand on the upkeep for the Nicol Bolas player. They'll go to their draw step, draw another one. Nicol Bolas the Ravager coming down for that player. Second time this game. We'll have to discard a card, probably the Mountain. There it goes, straight into exile. They can flip it over right now to create the Planeswalker, so let's see if they do that. Crux of Fate, destroy all non-dragon creatures. Yep. Alright, well there goes Rexiel. That's unfortunate. We still have Emberwild Captain. Unfortunately, not going to do it for us though. Comes our turn, we get another land. Alright, so I guess the Emberwild Captain is what we're going to be doing. Could also potentially resummon our commander. Painful Quandary will trigger. We'll discard the Immersturm Predator. We get to become the Monarch again. Let's play a mountain. And fortunately for us, our commander will cost 6 now. We'll cast our commander. We will have to pay the 5 life. We have no cards in hand. Comes into play, it does the Super Goad. End of turn. We currently wear the hat. We get Virtus's Maneuver. Again, not very good with the Leyline in play. Szadek's turn, land into play. Could potentially resummon their commander. Fathom Feeder instead. Devoid Death Touch and Ingest. Painful Quandary will trigger. 3 blue-black, draw a card. Each opponent exiles the top card of their library. Alright, so they will get to draw an extra card off of that. That's nice. Over to Nicol Bolas' turn. Patient Rebuilding will trigger again. And they are targeting Szadek again. Makes sense. Hopefully they don't get any lands this time. They get no lands. Nice. So no extra card draw for them. Up to 5 cards in hand after the draw. Swamp into play. Sweltering Suns. 3 damage to each creature. Fathom Fear is being activated. We'll exile the top card of our library. It was Little Pork Cutthroat. Yeah, that probably wouldn't have helped anyway. We'll put our commander back into the command zone, because otherwise it'll be exiled anyway. Nicol Bolas on the attack, off into the Szadek player. Damage is good. Szadek down to 34, up to 4 commander damage. They could flip Nicol Bolas into the Planeswalker right now, though. And that would be kind of bad. Nicol Bolas is being exiled. It will return as Nicol Bolas the Arisen. We have Tyrant Scorn. Choose one, return target creature to its owner's hand. That is ironic. Very much so. Okay, Painful Quandary will trigger. Now it looks like we have yet another response. This time I have the Nicol Bolas player. Arcane Denial. Oh, sad face. I did enjoy the irony of the artwork there. Nicol Bolas has arisen. So it comes into play with the 7 loyalty. They can +2, -3 deal 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker, -4 to put something from the graveyard onto the battlefield under their control, a creature or a planeswalker. I don't know that there's anything left. Yeah, they're just going to draw the cards. That's kind of what I thought they would be doing. I mean, there's Evil Twin, but that wouldn't work right now. Fathom Feeder, maybe? So yeah, nothing like super strong besides Nemesis. To our upkeep, but the Arcane Denial will trigger. The Szadek player will get to draw 2 cards. The Nicol Bolas player will get to draw 1. We get Kaya's Ghost form. Well, it will help with exiling stuff. But getting our commander down isn't the best right now. It could potentially just die Nicol Bolas, but we need to get Nicol Bolas dead anyway. And there's tons of auto removal. More importantly, we do need to protect the monarchy, so I guess that's what we're doing. Let's go ahead and summon our commander. We will have to pay the 5 life, and then we'll discard Virtus's maneuver otherwise. Alright, let's play Kaya's Ghost form. Painful Quandary will trigger again. We'll discard the maneuver. We have a response out of Nicol Bolas. Oh, this will be unfortunate. Yep, our commander's just going to get killed again. We'll return it back to the command zone. We also take some damage for it. Alright, we'll pass off the turn. End of turn, we still have the hat, fortunately. Let's draw a card. We get a land. We have Szadek, Lord of Secrets, coming down for that player. Oh, the Szadek player quits the game. Yeah, the attrition here is really bad. I don't know how we're going to get out of it either. Nicol Bolas' turn, Patient Rebuilding. So we mill Vargoth, Bloodsky Sire, and 2 lands. The tutor could have been nice, but I doubt it would have survived anyway. Nicol Bolas the Arisen being activated to draw 2 cards. Getting ever closer to their ultimate, which is -12, exile all but the bomb card target player's library. Crypt of the Eternals coming down, they'll gain 1 life. The Locust God. Oh, things are going to get even more high-hand. That's unfortunate. Comes to our turn, we get Soul Ring. Oh, that is not helpful at all. Alright, well, let's go ahead and play it. And we'll discard the Mountain, I suppose. Actually, we'll just take the 5. And then I suppose we'll just recast our commander. I don't know that it matters at this point, however. Painful Quandary will trigger yet again. We'll discard a mountain. Our Super Goad will trigger. Unfortunately, there are no other players, so the Goad does not matter. End of turn. We still wear the crown, although I think it's going to be taken from us. We get to draw a card. Oh, we have a response out of the Nicol Bolas player. Augur Spree, our creature gets +4/-4, our commander will immediately die again. We will return him to the command zone. Unfortunately, we cannot pay to recast him again. We get Mazizium Mortars. Assuming we survive somehow, that'll be nice. Unfortunately, I don't think that's quite what's happening. Nicol Bolas' turn, mills us for 3, Ingarrick's Wake, Fumiko, and Swamp. The Locust God will trigger. The Locust God will trigger for the draw for turn. Another insect into play. Nicol Bolas +2. The Nicol Bolas player draws 2 cards. Locust God will trigger twice. Nicol Bolas is now within ultimate range. Full attack off into us. Marchesa's Decree will trigger 5 times. We will be taking 8 damage. We'll go down to 6. And we'll lose the Monarchy. Oh, before damage is dealt, we have Grixis Charm. Creatures they control get 2/0 towns a turn, so that is the end of the game. Good game to our opponents. Unfortunately, I wish we could have done something more, but that Leyline of the Void just really screwed with all of our stuff. I am going to give it to... I'm going to give it to the Szadek player, just because that commander... I mean, it costs 7. It doesn't even deal commander damage on top of anything. I'm going to give it to them. The Szadek player and we tie for the most votes. That's nice. I appreciate that. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at the deck. Okay, here's the deck in its probably second incarnation. I was testing it out a bit before. Unfortunately, we just couldn't really do anything. We got Recursion, had card draw from our opponents. Just with that Leyline of the Void really screwed everything up, and Nicol Bolas with that early Painful Quandary. Unfortunately, we really can't take care of enchantments. Being Rakdos, we don't have access to much. There is Nevinral's Disc. We could do that, maybe add that into the deck, because otherwise all we have is Meteor Golem, which is a nice catch-all kind of thing. Feed the Swarm, which is the only black enchantment removal we have. And other than that, we did see and did use Chaos Warp just to try to save the Monarchy. But we were so behind at that point, I don't think Chaos Warp, or getting rid of the Painful Quandary, was going to be much help. So, unfortunately, sometimes the games are just a little bit one-sided like that. Some things I do want to point out, though, we only have 2 Monarch cards in the deck. That would be Enderwild Captain, which gives us the Monarchy when it comes into play, and provides like a Rattlesnake kind of protection as opposed to Pillow Fort. And the same thing is true with Marchesa's Decree. Also gives us the Monarch, bit of a Rattlesnake, so if people want to attack us with a lot of stuff, they could lose a lot of life potentially. And it can really add up if we get some of these effects stacking over time. Some other Pillow Fort-ish stuff or Rattlesnake stuff that we have is Kazultar into the Cliffs. And then we have Mog Maniac, if you remember him from the last video series with My Broken Brow. I believe it was game 2, where we dealt like 40 damage to somebody. So that's pretty nice. And we do have a bit of a, I guess you could say, stacks-ish effect with Irabrask the Hidden. But creatures enter the battlefield tapped. Buys us a turn, nothing major there. Anyway, I'll save the rest of this for the deck tech, assuming a lot of these cards survive it. I think most of them will. I think we need some tweaks, though. Tybalt Rakish Instigator, I don't think that game will help with us at all. War Cadence, I'm going to test again, see where that goes. This game had a very large lack of creatures developing on the board at all, and our commander is about manipulating that, so not the strongest game we could have played regardless of the other outcome, right? In either case, if you saw any cards that you might want to own in paper for yourself, your collection, if you want to buy some sealed product coming up, or sleeves to protect all that stuff, please consider using the TCG Player affiliate link in the description below. It helps out the channel, doesn't cost you anything extra. Alright, on to the next game for Kardur. Hopefully we get to manipulate more creatures. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. Probably going to add a Nevi Disc. I haven't decided yet, but we do need to find more ways to deal with enchantments. Until then, I'll see you around. Stay safe out there.